Well, what I remember most about Len Oliver is what a kind person he was. He was always so nice when he'd come in here to the building, and he did that frequently. He'd always come up to me, shake my hand, ask how I'm doing. Always had a nice smile on his face. He was just the nicest man, and that's how I'll remember him the most. We worked together a lot on these clinics that he would put on here and the Stoddard board meetings, but just being a super nice man is the way that I will remember him.
Hello, my name is Ron Quinn, and I'm a member of the faculty in the Department of Sports Science and Management at Xavier University in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm also chair of the Long-Term Service Award for Youth for the United Soccer Coaches, a position that Len held for many years until I assumed the role from Len in 2017. However, our relationship has spanned decades through the yearly Soccer Coaches Convention and our commitment to coaching education. We also shared a common friendship with Tom Fleck and the rich soccer heritage in Philadelphia. Albeit I grew up in the suburbs and was almost 2 decades behind him, he still welcomed me as the youngster so many years ago. Len was a living legend and ambassador of the game. His commitment and dedication to teach the game had no rival. A coaching education champion who graciously gave his time to anyone who needed it. He stayed true to his principles and was a role model for all of us, a true gentleman who will be greatly missed. Thank you. God bless you, Len.
You know, when I think about Len, I think about a couple things. The biggest one is his commitment to the game. He loved playing. He loved talking about the game. He loved talking about soccer. I had so many good conversations with him about youth soccer, and I had the opportunity to interview Len about his history and about his background. And for a young guy like me at the time and early in my career, it was just so great to hear his story and his contributions to the game and how the game has changed over the years. It was something that, you know, you don't really think about how things were back 40, 50, 60 plus years ago. And it was just so amazing to hear his stories about growing up playing soccer and how the soccer landscape changed over the years. He's going to be greatly missed. He was a positive mentor to somebody getting their career started. He always had positive words to say, and he would always say that if you love the game and show your love of the game, it's going to be great for all the kids that you coach. He's going to be really missed, and I'm going to miss hearing his stories, and you know, his contributions and his dedication will live on through all those that he educated over the years.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Shaw, the former coaching education director for Virginia Youth Soccer. And what can I tell you about Professor Oliver? Well, I worked for Virginia Youth Soccer for about 15 years. And when I first got hired, Len Oliver was the first instructor that I had the joy and the challenge of spending time with. I remember meeting him at his home with Eleanor. Eleanor, all the best news to you. And chatting about the game and the differences and how the game has changed, how much he's helped people, and just a gregarious, lovely person. Thank you, Len, for welcoming me into the Virginia, the U.S. soccer family. Since that time, we probably went to a dozen DC United games where Len held court and made sure that I got introduced to everyone that went by. And just a fantastic man. And I could probably tell you many stories about Len. The last DC United game we went to was at Audi Park, and we went downstairs. He wanted to show me the field from field level, and we couldn't get in, and he proceeded to lecture the poor security guard. Oh, it was cringingly funny. Always looking out for other people. Thank you, Len, for being an inspiration, and I'm going to carry your memory throughout my travels in our sport.
When I think of Len Oliver, I think of a few things right off the bat. First of all, any conversation with Len Oliver never ended at hello. He always had a question, he had a follow-up question. He was interested in who you were with as well, and he always had a story. Sometimes the same story, but it was still a good story every time. Len cared so much about the game of soccer, and he cared so much about those of us in the game of soccer. And one of the most telling things to me about Len and how much soccer meant to him and the growth of the game was sitting in a meeting with a whole bunch of DOCs from different clubs, and we're discussing something, and he said, look, the first thing that we have to think about is it good for the game and the players? The last thing we have to think about, is it good for our clubs? And that just stuck with me all the time, you know, that he always put the game first. And I think we all know that we're much better for it in not just the Washington, D.C. area, but in the entire country. Len was a legend, as we all know, and he affected all of us, including myself, in such a positive way. We'll miss him a lot. Rest in peace, Len.
Hello, everybody. Len Oliver had an impact on the lives of so many people, so many coaches. I, for one, owe him a great amount of gratitude for what he did for me. As a person and as a coach, Len was my first instructor, my first director, and my first mentor. He was always there to help out and lend a hand anytime I needed him. As we all know, Len had a great amount of stories to tell. His stories, soccer stories in particular, were endless. Great stories that we all love to hear. But for me, the thing that I remember about Len the most is every time I saw him, the first thing he did was ask about my family, ask about how everything is going back home, if I needed any help. We then talked about culture, politics, life, and then we go into soccer. So every time I had a chance to meet with Len, it was a great experience all around. His impact on the lives of so many coaches will live forever. What he did in his life is give each one of us a key to open a new door for other coaches and players to come in and experience a beautiful game as he wanted it to be taught. For that, I thank him for everything he did. Rest in peace, Len. You will be missed.
Hi, friends of Len Oliver. Len brought me into DC Stoddard many years ago, and I worked with him for a long time there. He was always so positive and encouraging. He was generous with his time. He was a great mentor. When he brought me into coaching education, he modeled beautiful humor, excellent insights. He simplified the game. He was an excellent coach, a positive leader, and an incredible ambassador for the game. He also just loved people. He loved to find out where they're from, what position they played. I'm going to miss him very, very much.
Hello. Yeah, this is Mavis here. I would like to say something about Len Oliver. When we heard the news about Len, I was very sad because he's made an impact in my life. I remember when I was a young coach, my first coaching license that I took was a D license, and Len was my instructor. He was a very nice instructor, very knowledgeable. He made the course really fun and comfortable. Anytime I had any questions, Len would sit me down and walk me through each question that I had. He encouraged me, motivated me, and he's part of the reason why I grew as a young coach. And I'm really going to miss him. Love you, Len.
Hi, this is Kate Samsot Fessler, and I first met Len in 1991 when I first moved to the DC area after graduating from college. I knew I wanted to coach, so I called a former teammate of mine and said, "Where do I start?" She said, "You got to call Len Oliver. He knows everyone." He knew everyone and then some. So over the ensuing decades, I got to coach with Len, I got to teach licensing courses with him, and I counted on him as a mentor and a friend. And not just in soccer, but also in the world of adult education. And that's an area where he holds his PhD. So we will definitely miss Len and hold him very dear to our hearts for all time. Thank you, Len. R.I.P.
Hello everyone, Len Oliver was a great person and a wonderful human being. Len was the first person I met in the soccer community when I arrived to the US. I took a course with him and he offered me a job on the spot. He gave me a lot of help and guidance and opened the door for me in many ways. In addition, Len was a great coach, instructor, and leader. He loved his job and did it perfectly. He also helped a lot of coaches worldwide to pursue their soccer coaching career and achieve their goals. I'm sending my condolences to Len's family and the community, and we would like to tell Len that you were always a great inspiration and support to many of us. Rest in peace, Len. Thank you.